Hello, Packers fans, wherever you may be. It's time for another edition of the Pack Attack Cast, brought to you from fans for fans. We're here to give you your daily updates on your Green Bay Packers. If you haven't given us a subscribe yet, please give us a subscribe after watching this video. We're trying to get to 5,000 by the start of the season, and today we just hit 4,000 subscribers. We're very excited about that growth in only 3 months. So please hit the subscribe button if you've not already done so and be a part of the Pack Attack Cast family. We're going to be here for the long haul, giving you news and notes that impact your Green Bay Packers. So let's go to our notes for August 5th. If you're tracking, we're just a little over a month away from week 1, so things are getting real. So we're trying to get you up to date as much as possible. I scoured news and notes across the intraweb to give you thoughts on what happened in today's practice. Biggest news and notes that came out today was Nate Hobbs has a partial tear in his meniscus and had surgery on Saturday to correct the issue. He could have played with it, but the club and Hobbs both wanted to address it now, so it's not an issue during the season. He is expected to miss the rest of training camp, but is expected to be ready for week 1 against the Lions. Obviously, huge notes because Nate Hobbs is a free agent addition to this team, and he's expected to be cornerback number 2 for the Green Bay Packers this year. Let's talk about the impact of this injury. So, assuming he is ready week number 1, and that gives him a whole week to practice before they play the Lions, I'm not overly concerned about Nate Hobbs being ready for the season opener. He's an established veteran. He's been playing very well in practice. He's been playing with tenacity and energy, and I think the coaching staff knows what they have in Nate Hobbs. So I'm very convinced this is going to impact him, assuming he's able to start week 1. For looking at the silver lining here, it does give the other cornerbacks more playing time in practice and in the preseason, and I think we'll see some players put in bubble wrap for the preseason, like Nixon and Valentine. So with Nate Hobbs nicked up, I don't think Keyshawn Nixon or Valentine with a V will be playing in the preseason. I'll be very surprised. Maybe a little playing time for Valentine in the preseason. But if I had to guess, I think both those players are on the sideline for the preseason game on Saturday. This is a great situation long term because it does allow the coaching staff to figure out their roster from 4 through 6 in cornerbacks. It also makes a lot more sense about why we signed Corey Ballantyne with a B, just yesterday, because they knew this surgery had happened and he's going to be out for at least the preseason. So I think overall it's good for a couple reasons. Number one, Nate Hobbs cleaning this up now before the start of the season is a smart thing to do for the Green Bay Packers. They need Nate Hobbs for the whole season, and playing with a tear would be constant maintenance and treatment throughout the course of the season. You'd always have to be worried that the tear is going to be a full tear. So it just made sense for the Green Bay Packers to address this now. If it had been in season, they would probably do treatment and keep him in the lineup. So if it had to happen, it's good that this injury happened when it did. It'll give the rest of the Green Bay Packers cornerbacks times to show their ability in training camp. And I think it overall will help Gutekunst and the coaching staff figure out if they have what they need at cornerback 4 through 6. It gives us the opportunity for, in the event that Gutekunst and LaFleur and Hafley are concerned about the cornerback depth with Hobbs being out, as other players are cut in training camp, it gives them the opportunity to add some players at the end of training camp. So overall, I'm not overly concerned about this. I think it's going to be fine as long as Hobbs is ready for week 1 against the Detroit Lions, because we're definitely going to need our best cornerbacks on the field for that game. Other injury news from training camp today: Tucker Kraft was back in practice, and Quay Walker was actually in team practice. He did not participate 100% in all of the team practice, but he did participate in some of the team practice. That gives him 3 weeks to get into the scheme of things throughout the rest of training camp. I don't expect Quay Walker to see any action in the preseason, but the fact that he's going to be in practice for the next 3 weeks, barring a setback, is great news. As far as news and notes from training camp today from the actual practice, in watching multiple reports, I've seen that Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, and Savion Williams stood out for offense, and on defense, there was a lot of rotation at the cornerback position, which you would expect with Nate Hobbs out. Both the offense and the defense won some and lost some throughout the day, but it was the defense that won the day overall. So not a surprise there. That's what we've seen throughout training camp. And more importantly, we did not see any injuries during practice today. So that's your training camp update, sweet and short. But I think the biggest impact, obviously, is Hobbs being injured and the pluses and minuses of this situation. Again, overall, he got it taken care of before week 1. I'm happy. I think that was the right decision for the coaching staff and the training staff to take care of this before the season, so it isn't a nagging injury throughout the season. So not worried about that overall. I do want to take some time today, since we have some time in the cast, to show Jordan Love some love. So Jordan Love came out and he wrote a piece in the Players Tribune entitled "None of This Was Supposed to Happen." And I already rooted for Jordan Love before I saw this article, obviously, not only because I think he's a great up-and-coming player, but he's the Green Bay Packers starting quarterback. And I'm a homer through and through. I don't try to pretend that I'm not. But Jordan Love might be the most Packery Packer in quarterback history. In this story that he posted about his journey to the NFL, it was really, really heartwarming to see all the adversity, how he went through, how he was the backup quarterback throughout the course of his high school and college career, and how he fought and fought and fought to get this opportunity to be a starting quarterback for your Green Bay Packers, plus the personal adversity that is in this article. I'm going to let you review the personal side of it, but this is a much read item. So I'm going to look at the football side of this, and I encourage all of you that are Packers fans to go to the Players Tribune and read the personal side of this, because it will make you fall in love with Jordan Love. So I've been a Packers fan for a very long time. I've loved Brett Favre for his gunslinger mentality. I've loved Aaron Rodgers because he was arguably the best technical quarterback in the history of the NFL, and I'll be rooting him on when he gets into the Hall of Fame. But now I am rooting for Jordan Love. After reading this article, I'm just filled with wanting things to go right for Jordan Love. Beyond the fact that I'm a Packers fan and I want the Packers to win the Super Bowl, more importantly, I think Jordan Love is a true success story for anybody in the NFL. He fought through obstacles and tribulations through his childhood, through his football career, and now, even as a Green Bay Packer, he's fighting through adversity. And I think that's what makes the NFL truly special. So looking at the football side of this, I want to take the football side into account. Again, please check out that article to see the personal side of Jordan Love. But I want to take the football stuff out and talk about it a little bit. So, what I learned from this article is Jordan Love has the heart and passion to give him the steel to win a Super Bowl for the Green Bay Packers. I believe 100% Jordan Love will continue the Packer tradition of adding Super Bowl championships for the Green Bay Packers. After reading this article, I know he's got the toughness and temperament to deal with the highs and lows that it takes to be a champion. I believe that 100% right now. The article also went out of its way to show the positive relationship that Jordan Love had with Aaron Rodgers. Jordan goes out of his way in the article, and again, you should check it out, to talk about all the little things that Aaron Rodgers taught him when he was a backup quarterback. And you can see when you read that article and then you look at Jordan Love's play style, you can see that he could be in many ways the best combination of the quarterbacks that the Green Bay Packers have had. We've seen Jordan Love be a gunslinger. We've seen that consistently. Sometimes he does plays that make you say, wow, that's amazing. Sometimes he does plays that make you say, Jordan Love, what were you thinking there? But that, I think, is the Brett Favre that we can embrace out of his game. If you look at the technical moves that Jordan Love makes, for example, getting free plays, understanding and dissecting the defense, those are things that Jordan Love got from Aaron Rodgers while he was watching him play. So I think Jordan might be the perfect combination of heart, gunslinger, and technician that the Green Bay Packers need this year. And I've said all along, if he can get close to his 2023 playing level, Jordan Love can take the Green Bay Packers to the Super Bowl this year or next year. I firmly believe that's something that is going to happen. So I think Jordan Love has everything going in for him this year. It's his third year as a starter. He just got married. He's got his friends and family behind him and his teammates. I think his teammates are really ready to go to war for him, and he's entering year 3 as a starter, so the NFL should watch out. Jordan Love is ready to be something special. So I just want to put that out there. Last thing I want to talk about today, it's going to be a relatively short video because we don't have a lot of news and notes. But I've said consistently that I believe the NFL media, the popular media, the ESPNs, the PFFs, all those media machines out there are sleeping on the Green Bay Packers. I feel like they're looking at past success for teams like the Lions, and they're not looking at what the Green Bay Packers have done in the offseason and in training camp to really raise the level of their game. I have 100% confidence that the Green Bay Packers are going to put better material on the field than they did last year. Quarterback play will be better. Defense will be better. I think Matt LaFleur will find ways to show that he really is a coach that should be in contention for Coach of the Year. I think all these things are coming together for the Green Bay Packers. So I'm very excited about that. But a lot of the media, they're obsessed with the Eagles. And I talked last video about how the Eagles were in the same spot that the Packers are in this year in many ways. They were not the favorite to win the Super Bowl. They were rated 8th by many people, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Green Bay Packers are kind of in that 7th, 8th, and 9th on most ranking boards right now, but I think they can easily climb up to be number 1 by the end of the season. But not everybody is sleeping on the Green Bay Packers. So I would like you guys to check out Bucky Brooks' latest article. It's titled "Stop Dismissing Aaron Rodgers," and it's a great read for a Packers fan because he talks about an appreciation for Aaron Rodgers and his ability to elevate the Steelers. But the second part of the article is what's most important to me, where he ranked the NFC teams that have the best chance to usurp the Eagles in 2025. And let's go through his rankings really quickly. Again, I urge you to check out the article. Number one, he has the LA Rams. I wouldn't put the LA Rams as the number one obstacle for the Eagles, but I get it because there's recency bias because the Rams almost beat the Eagles in the playoffs last year. Now, there was a lot of things that happened in that game that I don't think you would see every game. Like if the Rams had played the Eagles 10 times, I think the Eagles would have probably won 8 of those 10 games. But let's give the Rams props, and I understand why they're number one on this list. Number two, Brooks has the Washington Commanders as an NFC team to challenge the Eagles. That makes sense. They played in the NFC Championship game. I think the Washington Commanders have some issues they need to address, especially at wide receiver right now with their current holdout. And I don't know if Jaden Daniels can avoid a sophomore slump. So I understand that the Washington Commanders are on this list, and I won't begrudge Brooks for his opinion, but I'm not so sure about that. But at number 3, we've got your Green Bay Packers. Not the Detroit Lions, who are not on this list, but the Green Bay Packers as the third biggest opposition for the Eagles this year. I will take that ranking because, number one, I think the Packers are in the top 4 or 5 teams in the NFC. And I think they can easily elevate to be a Super Bowl champion with everything that they've been doing the last couple of years to ramp up for this year, including Jordan Love being healthy. But what I love here is what Brooks says about the Green Bay Packers. His last sentence in this article is very telling. It says, "The Packers have the recipe to knock off any opponent and reach the top of the NFC totem pole." And I couldn't agree with Brooks any more than what he just said. So I just want to leave you guys with that little light on news and notes today. But I wanted to talk about this. Couple other things I want to update you guys on. Our Madden 25 series has gotten a lot of interest, and I'm excited to say that on Thursday, thanks to EA Sports, I'm actually going to get access to Madden 26 a full week early. So we're going to start a Madden 26 series on the Green Bay Packers, looking at the roster, trying to figure out where they can have success, where they might struggle. This is not about my Madden skills because they're pretty marginal, to be honest with you. It's about looking at the roster and seeing how it's going to succeed. So we're going to look at that. I'm going to get access on Thursday. Hopefully I'll be able to post a video either Friday or Saturday of your Green Bay Packers in Madden 26. So I'm very excited about that. So watch out for that. Once again, give us a subscribe. And number 2, tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some more players' notes, hopefully from practice. But I'm also going to break down the Jets because they are playing the Packers on Saturday for their first preseason game. And this is getting us into the routine of looking at the opponent the week of the game. I'm not only going to be focusing on the Green Bay Packers, but I'm going to be doing a deep dive each week on news and notes for their opponent for that week. So we're going to look at lineups, we're going to look at news and notes, we're going to look at injuries, we're going to look at anything that will impact that game on Saturday as we prepare for the regular season. Now, Saturday is going to be an interesting preseason game because we've got a lot of Packers that aren't going to play. We've got a lot of Jets that aren't going to play. But we're going to look at the strengths and weaknesses of the teams based on their data from last year and try to figure out who's going to succeed. Now, I'm not going to spoil my prediction for the game. We'll go through that tomorrow. But I just want to prepare you guys for that because what we're going to be doing throughout the season is we're going to be looking at not just the Green Bay Packers. If there's one thing that I think Packers Cast podcast can do is do a better job of trying to break down the opposition for each week's game. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow as well as giving you updates from practice. As always, go Pack Go, and we'll see you tomorrow.